Hello guys, today we're going to talk about Variable Length Subnet Mask. We'll talk about the main contents, what it is, and the method that it uses. First of all, subnetting class B IP address. If you have a network address 172.16.0.0, which is a class B address, and the subnet mask is going to be 255.255.0.0, and the only octets that are presenting the seed notation are 16. But now we have to have a new subnet mask with a 255.255.128.0 with a 17 seed. But what is another subnet? If we check the new subnet mask in the binary notation, we can see that one bit is borrowed from the third octet, and the value of that octet is 128. So now we have to check for the number of subnets. We only need one, because we only take one bit borrowed, so it's only two subnets. 2 to the power 1 is 2. But how many hosts? As you can see, if you would check the zeros, which are the host parts, are 15, because one bit is borrowed from the two octets. Now we have number of hosts, 2 to the power 15 minus 2, because they are reserved for broadcast address and network address. And the result is 32,766 hosts per subnet, 7 bits in the third and 8 bits in the fourth octet. But what are the valid subnets? As you can see, if you take 256 minus 128, we get the magic number, which is 128. So the subnet has 0.0 is the first, of course, and the next one will be 128.0 because it's the class B address. Magic number works on the third octet. As you can see from the table, subnet 16.00, 16.28.0. First source is going to be like 0.1, and the broadcast address, we're going to see the last of the next subnet, which is going to be 127.155. If you take the one number less from the next subnet, we're going to overflow the octet, so we don't need to get from the other 80 bits from the octet. So we go 127.255. But the last house is going to be 125 minus 1 will be 254. And it's the same result for the next octet. First house is going to be 128.1. Broadcast address, of course, is 255 because this is the limit where we can go. Because we cannot take 256, we only get 255, one less than 256. And the last house is going to be one less than the broadcast address, which is really easy. You can find which is 172.16.255.254. But what is variable length subnet mask? You can create subnets using different subnet mask lengths. Classical network uses the same subnet mask for any subnet. This means to have the same fixed number of hosts for each LAN, local area network. For example, class C address 192.168.1.10 with the seed notation 25. It will create two subnets with 126 hosts per subnet. In the classes networks using VLSM, we can provide the needed number of hosts on each router interface LAN. Based on the number of hosts needed, we use different sizes of subnet mask. But where are the number of addresses needed are less than those who are in the table. One needs only 2 IP addresses, and we waste a lot of IP addresses. As you can see, for this network we only need 1 addresses, and on the other side we only need 50. As you can see, it will be a waste if you use them all. That's why we use VLSM. But let's see an example of other network from A, B, C, D, and the 2 hosts for the networks E, F, G, and H. As you can see, if you take the block size of it with the prefix, mask, host, a block size, try to remember this table because it's really important. It's really easy to use. which has a CIDR prefix is a CIDR notation, immerse the subnet mask. Hosts are the hosts needed. Block size we take from the values of the table. Here is a solution of the first example. You can see from the network 1 to H, the host block, subnet and mask. We will start from data 10.0, which is the first, and begin with 10.1. And check the next block size, going to be 16, 32, 32 again, plus 8, then the two networks, two hosts, which are needed for the first side, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. See the end 152 with the subnet mask. A public IP address is an IP address that your home or business router, merely ISP, which is provided by ISP. They are required. Public IP addresses are required for any publicity accessible network hardware, like for example for your home router, as well as for the servers that host the website. For example, in the Academy of Audio Theory, IP addresses, which is 109.69.4.171. A private IP address, an IP address is reserved for internal use by your router or other network address translation net, which stands for network address translation device, which is apart from the public. For example, 192.168.5.100. Private IP addresses will never be assigned to organizations. The public IP address or network can be used by organizations which use NAT when sending packets to the internet. It can also be used by organizations that never send packets to the internet. Here are the ranges of private IP addresses, which begin from 10.00 and end to 192.168.255.255, which is the last one. Try to remember that it's only important to know the values of ranges, because the subnet mask will be the same. For example, 10.0 is the same as 255 for the three other octets. 172.16.00 will be the same because they are P class address. 172.31.255.255, the C class address. 192.168.00 to 192.168.255.255. As you can see, here are some quizzes. If you'd like to solve them, where as a formula for the number of hosts 2H minus 2 require a selection of two hosts. As we said, they are reserved for the broadcast address and the network address. Yes, and the class B network needs to be subnetted such that it supports one subnet and one that hosts the subnet. Which of the following answer is the workable combination with the number of networks, subnet host bits? As you can see, we have three networks with 16 and one network with 8. 7, 8, 9, 7 subnets, host with 7, 8, 7, 17. As you can see, it's definitely the network with the 16, with the 7, 8, and 8 hosts. The 9 subnets or 7 hosts is the same, so we can use them both. Which of the following are the IP addresses? As you can see from the ranges 172, which we took, and the 192.168, 255.0. If you answer A and C is correct. But which of the following public IP addresses? We have to choose three answers now. Of course, it will be 9.00, as you said in the last lecture. And it will be 192.1.168.0 and 1.0.0.0, which is the first one. Before a class B network, 172.16.0 is submitted by network engineer, which preserves IP address since this network already exists, so we don't have to do it again. And we have to do with specific size. And of course, we choose the network and the host size, which will be really easy as they are already subnetted. Let's see the second question. The network engineer spends time thinking about a class B network with the IP 172.16.0, and he thinks about how to subnet the network. He then chooses how to subnet the class B network and creates an addressing and subnetting plan. on the paper, showing its choices. If your compare stalls about this network before subnetting the network to stalls about the network after mentally subnetting the network, but which of the following occurred to the part of the addressable network? If you chose B, it means that the network didn't choose mentally right, because the host part got even smaller now. And you had to create an addressing and subnetting plan on paper with its choices, so it is correct. But which of the following are not valid class A networks? Yes, of course, we have the ranges of the class A network IDs. Yes, if you choose B and C, you're correct. Because they are not valid A, 130.0.0 to 127.0.0 are not valid. But which of them are not on the class B networks? As you can see, definitely all of them are valid. But which of the following are true about IP addresses in this network, IP network? Okay, yes, if you chose B and D, you're correct. The network class is B network, of course, from the range. The number of hosts is subnetted and subnetted network is 16. Server registration, but which of the following is network broadcast address? Yes, as you saw from registration, which all those slots we don't cover right now. So thank you for sticking out with me. And if you have any problem or like to solve any problem from school or network or your company, please let me know in the comments down below. And thank you for